Hey guys, so today I woke up. As you can see, it is currently very early in the morning, and I decided, you know what, why not make a video? So I've been wanting to do this for a while now, but I haven't really found the motivation to. So today we're going to be talking about ScreenRant's Cobra Kai's definitive power scale, ranking 20 characters from weakest to strongest. So I've had this sent to me a few times now, and I actually saw it first on Alicia Hannah Kim's story, where they have some very interesting placements. Let's just say that. So I don't know. Without further ado, I guess let's jump into it. So at number 20, we got Anthony, which I guess is passable, until you go to who they have next, which is Stingray. No Sean, apparently, throughout this entire list, by the way. There's Kenny, but there's no Sean. Anthony's definitely stronger than Stingray, by the way. Stingray is literally just older. Raymond, better known as Stingray, is primarily comedy character Cobra Kai start off with Johnny Adult students. Stingray managed to develop some skill and confidence. Then Cobra Kai, John hired Stingray's DQ and this character himself and be able to hold his own against fire like yo, he should be effective at choosing younger sisters. Yeah, crap. Bro, he's barely a yellow belt, bro. I don't know. Okay, so ScreenRant suffers from this thing I call saying the entire history of the character instead of actually addressing their feats syndrome. So Anthony literally scores 8 points on Robby and reacts to Kenny, who they put higher on this list, by the way. So it doesn't really make sense as to why Stingray is stronger than Kenny, or Anthony, but hey, I guess I passable, I guess. So next we have Devin, which sure, I guess is not a bad placement considering Dimitri's right above her and they're interchangeable. You know, they do the same thing again where they just list out the entire history of the fighter rather than their new feats. Yeah, it's okay, I guess. Dimitri is a prime example of all of the Karate Kid franchise represents. You know, once again, just history of the character syndrome. Dimitri had no real shot at being a captain and still fell short compared to Eli and Kenny. Yeah, that's what we want to hear, right? We want to hear feats and stuff, but I guess they're just too busy talking about the history of the character sometimes. So we have Kenny, which I guess this is not too bad. Kenny above everyone. Kenny is actually above everyone below him, anyways. Thoroughly fighting competitor who was quite a pain to develop this time. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, once again the history thing. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, he doesn't really stay any feats that Kenny does, rather than earning several points, which I guess is okay because he beat up a captain. And I guess his spot is pretty warranted. Now, this is super controversial, I know. So at 15 they have Hawk, and I know most people say that Hawk should be way higher. Blah 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 blah. Can fight for Hawk was the one of 36 compared to several he couldn't quite hold up to Sam Miguel, Robby, Miguel, Tory. Now, I don't know about Sam because yeah, I don't think him and Sam are interchangeable in my opinion, but they don't really talk about why why he doesn't hold up to them. Cause the thing is, he does do immensely better against the Dublin Thunder captain than Sam ever does, at all, which is hilarious to me, considering since Sam's the captain, she gets more focused training, and yet she would still lose. But I do think Hawk would be above Sam, to be honest, because he just has better feet. In part 3, they both don't have any feats. Sam just spars Tory, I guess, in a training sequence, but then Hawk also spars Miguel, so he does get his fair share of training too. So I'd say Hawk is above Sam, but it's not the worst placement of all time. And then Sam's blah blah blah. Yeah, allowed her to claim some. I don't really care about Sam's placement, to be honest. You could interchange her with Hawk, but the thing is, they just don't list any feats. These people are just allergic to listing feats. I don't want your premium, but yeah, no, these people are actually allergic to listing feats. Now, okay, so this is where I start having a problem, right? So they have Robby at 13 on this. As Johnny learns the sound of the Cobra Kai's best fight, ironically being training with okay, the history, still the entire history. Robby can't quite stack up to powerhouses like Tory and Miguel, but he ultimately proved himself by getting first hits on Axel at the Sekai Tekai. Okay, so a lot to unpack here. So they think that Robby is weaker than Zara, which is quite an interesting thing, considering in the finale it's kind of showed that Zara had to get cheap shots on him, and either way couldn't really do much anyways. I don't like this placement, to be honest. I really don't. I don't like this placement at all, because like they said, he's the first one to land any hits on Axel, even after Axel first adapted, like where he used a stance that nobody has seen before. Robby was still able to adapt and lands like 5 points on him, which I don't see Zara doing that at all. Now, yeah, I know the writer's statement, but then that Zara and Axel don't scale to each other, okay? They're just in the same tier. And that was in part 2 as well. So, yeah, okay, so we get the history. Allowing her... Okay, so this is where a lot of people get it wrong, where they're like, oh, she advanced to the championship rounds without breaking a sweat. This is the same shit they say when, like, Miguel carries Miyagi-Do against Dublin Thunder, and this is the reason that he should be, like, the #1 fighter in the verse. No, bro. The reason she makes it to the championship rounds without breaking a sweat is because she doesn't fight anyone strong. Like all her fights are just against fodders. Like, I don't think she fights a single strong person instead of like the Udera Tiger freaking dojo. Like that's like the only remotely strong dojo she fights. And either way, they're no match for her. And she tags in Axel anyways. So no wonder she made it to the freaking championship rounds without a sweat. Robby literally had to fight Cobra Kai. And yeah, sure, Zara beat up Tory once, but this is Tory like before any of the intense training. And you can tell this because Tory literally beats her up in the finale. Tory above her, yeah. Now, I do think Robby should be above both of these people. Okay, after listening to that ad, I do think that Zara and Tory should be below Robby, because of simply the fact that, once again, I said that Axel has significantly more impressive feats than both of these people, and Robby matches up to him. I guess if feelers never afraid to strike first strike, of course, this was always a good thing. It was most challenging over come out on top. Yeah, okay, so once again, they list the history. They don't really list the reason for why she's above Robby, because, like, yeah, sure, he loses focus, but the thing is, it's not like he doesn't regain the focus. He literally beats Quan, right? And then he lands 5 points on Axel, which at that point nobody has done before. Tory was closer to... Robby was closer to Axel, and Tory was closer to Zara, so like... And Zara and Axel don't scale to each other at all. I don't want anyone to actually think that. Alright, so, you know, it's pretty bad. Okay, now, but at this point, the list is tolerable. Like, Miguel at this spot is fine. And then you get to Axel, who's for some reason above Miguel. And I actually have not read the reasoning for this yet. He would still be qualified as more powerful fighter throughout the rest of the tournament. Nobody even managed to touch Axel, so I'm guessing this is their main point. Again, like Robby, Miguel got around his defenses. Competing with a more positive Sensei the second attacker. There's little doubt he would have won the whole thing. Now, I don't know how they would prove this, because... Okay, so Wolf literally is the reason that Axel is so strong. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but every time Wolf gives an instruction, Axel just gets like a huge boost in power. So, it's not really down to if the sensei is positive or not, it's down to what the sensei says, because he's been taught his whole life one way. So if he had, like, I don't know, Daniel to coach him, I don't think he would have done any better, unless Daniel has been teaching him for a long time, right? So this is all headcanon. This is quite headcanon. Buckle under the pressure of his own sensei, that's also headcanon. Because, I mean, he literally beats Robby anyways, and he was still beating Robby. And then he was still beating Miguel. Miguel is just better than him. That's all I have to say. Miguel is just better than him. Like, even after Axel scores, like, what, 15 points on Miguel, Miguel still makes, like, the craziest comeback. And while I still do think that the Axel in the Miguel fight is weaker than the one in the Robby fight, it doesn't really matter, because they're basically the same shit anyways. So Miguel should be above Axel quite blatantly because of the fact that he beats Axel. And Axel at that point is extra trained compared to freaking Robby Axel. So no, he did not buckle under no pressure, and if he had a more positive sensei, he would not have won. That's all headcanon. Like you could never prove this. Right? And this is a very if situation, not like what actually happened, you know. Okay, so John, Kreese, Terry, so yeah, no, this is fine. Like I don't really care about this. Their placement's fine. Okay, so at 6 we have Daniel, which I guess isn't a terrible placement, and then we have Johnny, who I do think is above Daniel. But then we get to freaking Mike Barnes, and for some reason Mike is above Johnny. I don't know if. Okay, you know what? So their reasoning is, even years later, Barnes is violent, fierce, Cobra, even a little less evil. When it comes to general power, Barnes has the edge over Johnny and Daniel, which debatable, as proven by his sober matches with them in the Netflix series. Allied throughout Cobra Kai. Okay, so I don't know if we happen to forget this, but Johnny beats Mike in a fight, straight up one-on-one fight. Okay, Johnny beats Mike in a fight, and then Johnny continues to train after this, and he gains a power boost so big, he goes from getting negged by Wolf to being stronger than Wolf. So I don't know how I don't know how they managed to put Mike Barnes above Johnny, even though Johnny beats him like at his weakest in season 6. But yeah, no, Mike at best is like above Silver, maybe. Like that's being pretty generous as well, considering he doesn't train. But considering he fights so relative to Johnny, I'll give it to him that he's above Silver. But he is definitely not above Daniel or Johnny. That's bull, right? Plus, since Mike doesn't train, he's literally skill-wise to his freaking Karate Kid 3 self anyways. So yeah, this is a terrible placement. This is probably the worst one on the list. Like, I guess Tory above Robby is passable. But Mike, dude, you cannot pass him as above Johnny, since Mike literally beats him, or no, Johnny literally beats him in a fight. So it's not very debatable at all. So okay, so at number 3 we have Sensei Wolf, which if you want to see my Sensei Wolf versus Johnny video, you can check that out. I put the reasoning there for why I don't think Wolf beats Johnny. But let's just say here, so they're suffering from a case of okay, so they're suffering from another thing I call using the past to scale the present syndrome. Yeah, sure, he beat them up in part 2, but are we gonna forget that Johnny in the Sekai Taikai is not part 2 Johnny? Like, okay, so and then he proceeds to list out another history, the history of the character. Johnny may have won, but he was technically the weaker fighter. Sensei Wolf made the mistake of rushing in. He did not rush in at all. Okay, so I'll just say this right now. The first point, Wolf did rush in. Okay, the first point Johnny got on Wolf, that was not peak Wolf. But after that, you could clearly see he actually started to focus up. And then the second point, Johnny just got it. I don't know why that one's debatable. Johnny literally got a cheap shot in his like liver and still managed to land a hit on like Wolf. Like that's just not debatable whether Wolf was being serious or not, to the point where he would try to injure Johnny. And then the third point, Wolf was literally using the Shaolin Sunset. He was using his most powerful move. And we know that this is Wolf's most powerful move because it's like his signature move at this point, right? And Johnny literally counters that shit so easily. So no, the Shaolin Sunset, I've seen many people say that the Shaolin Sunset was rushing in, but that's literally how the Shaolin Sunset works. It's supposed to be a move to your solar plexus that damages you a lot. Right? I don't know how the hell people glossed over that, but yeah, no, Wolf is just not stronger than Johnny. Like to sum it up, Johnny blocked his most powerful move. It was not rushing in. Okay, so no, Johnny is not technically the weaker fighter. That shit's another headcanon. Johnny won that fair and square. He literally had to win the fight without getting a legal point scored on him once, right? So I don't know what to say, man. Like he already sustained a few cheap shots before locking in, and then when he locked in, he won. So Johnny was not. Yeah, sure, Wolf is physically stronger, but Johnny's confidence is just way better than that. Okay, so number 2, we have Chosen. It's not. I wouldn't doubt it. Like, Chosen's strong, but the thing is, he has no feats. Like, he straight up has no feats this season. He doesn't really fight anybody, other than like like Sensei like Ivanov or whatever the hell his name was. I mean, I guess the only thing is he did one shot Gunther Braun, like a cheap shot, but that doesn't really matter shit. So there's this thing I scaled Chosen with last season where it's like Tory said Kim was the best that she's ever seen, but then Chosen performs better than Kim, so Chosen was like strong, but I don't think he matches up to Sensei Wolf. So Chosen is another. Okay, so this is more history. Master Terry Silver is among the more intense of the series. Yeah, that's a sword fight. And Chosen would have won had he not become distant. Chosen power since he took on Sensei's students without breaking his sweat. Yeah, so it's another one of these things where, oh, he fought with less stress, meaning he must be better. Like, no, bro. Johnny just performs the better feats. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And he counters the pressure points, which is Chosen's best technique. So he counters Chosen's best technique and Wolf's best technique. So he should just be above both of them. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Chosen has no feats in part 3, whereas Johnny gets like a significant power boost to the point where he could beat Wolf. Now I do think Chosen would still be above Daniel, because I mean during the Johnny training sequence, Chosen does do like really good against Johnny, but once again that is a training sequence and Chosen doesn't have feats, unfortunately. So if he did have feats, he'd probably be above them, but he just doesn't. Like, I don't know what to tell you, he doesn't have any feats. So yeah, no, Chosen is probably like among the most glazed characters in the series when it comes to power. I mean, he's been put at number 1 at every list since like season 3 when he was introduced, right? Like in season 4, they thought that season 3 Chosen was stronger than season 4 Silver, and then in season 5 they thought Chosen was the strongest. Then in season 6 they thought Chosen was the strongest. So Chosen is just being glazed every time, and this shows it right here. So yeah, so it's not like the worst list ever. And then you get to number 1, which is how I saw this on Alicia Hannah Kim's story about Kim Da-Eun being number 1. Now, I haven't read it, the reason yet, but I already know that the reason is that she killed Kim Sun-young. Like, that's literally it. So, she taught her to be cruel. Underline, that's more history. It was her demonstration against her grandfather in season 6. She perfected Master Kim's deadly technique and killed him with a single strike to the abdomen with her bare fist. Okay, so this is washed up Kim Sun-young we're talking about, by the way. And if you want proof that he's washed up, the writers literally confirmed that at Miyagi's prime, no one was on his level except for Master Kim. So seeing as if someone is on Master Kim's level, that just shows that Master Kim is not in his prime. Considering, yeah, Master Kim's literally pushing like 3 million years old at this point, bro. So no, Kim Da-Eun is just not number 1. At best, I could give her like, I don't know, above Daniel, maybe? Like, maybe above Daniel. Because Daniel has no feats either. But, like, yeah, sure, she has good battle IQ. That's undeniable. Because she gets the technique very quickly. But, like, I don't know how you could say that she's number 1 just because she beats up an old, washed up Kim Sun-young. She literally got beat up by some random lady. Like this, like the part before this. So no, like she's not number 1, dude. Like, yeah, sure, she's strong, but she's not that strong, right? Neither is washed up old season 6 part 3 Kim Sun-young, right? Because he literally said that he's been waiting to retire at this point, but he can't just because Kim Da-Eun is incompetent, which is crazy. So yeah, I don't really believe in the fact that Kim Da-Eun is this strong just because she eliminates Kim Sun-young. Like, it's impressive, sure, but it's not, like, that technique would not work on anyone above because she just doesn't speed scale to them, like, or she just doesn't, no, not that she doesn't speed scale to them, but they're just faster than her, right? So in short, like, yeah, she eliminates a washed up Kim Sun-young, but that Kim Sun-young is unquantifiable at all. Like, yeah, sure, at best he scales to like season 6 part 2 senseis at their weakest, considering that he still beats up Kim Da-Eun, who beats up that dude or the girl. But at the same time, Kim Da-Eun was also hesitating, which makes me believe that she could have beat him up way easier. So Kim Sun-young is quite unquantifiable. But then if that were to be the case, then they would have to put Kim Sun-young somewhere on this list, considering the fact that he fights relative to their number 1, right? So they don't really know how to chain scale, which is fine because they're not power scalers. But considering they call this list the definitive power scale, I would hope that they at least put some more thought into it. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Yeah, I mean that's kind of all I had to say. You know what? Let's read some comments. I disagree with most of this list. Too long to list everything wrong with it, but Wolf is definitely number one. Chosen and Johnny are pretty equal. Wolf's pretty much better than Johnny, even though he loses. No. As far as Axel was concerned, it's ridiculous to say he had a more positive sensei. He would have beaten Miguel. That's what I'm saying. You could say Miguel would have beaten him even worse if he had a better sensei. Okay, well that's even more headcanon. That actually, like, his point was valid until he said this. Like, that's not what it means at all. Miguel already had a positive sensei. Okay, yeah. Wolf is not obviously number one. Okay, so this summarizes the list for me. List started out decent, rest is terrible. Yeah, it was pretty cool. List is horrible. Fighters ranked higher than the people who defeated them. Exactly what I'm saying. The only person I agree on the entire list was Mike. Okay, no, I don't agree with him anymore. Like, his point started off good and then it ended off really bad. He literally contradicts himself. Like, the only person I agree on this entire list was Mike Barnes, but then Johnny literally beats Mike Barnes. So, luckily for Johnny, the match against Wolf was a 3-point match. Has been a normal fight. He wouldn't have any opportunity. Yeah, no, he can't prove this. Like, if you ask this guy to prove this, he could not. Like, he would not be able to prove this. Since when does power mean tenacity or talent? Whenever someone else is so you justify power rankings. Yep. Johnny Wolf are both Sakai champions from different years. Sensei Kim and Chozan seem to be equally matched during their fights and flirting. One can make the argument Sensei Kim is most taller, wise, blah, 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 blah. Sorry behind Tory, but failed to place Axel before Mega. Yeah, that is pretty true. I agree with that one. Views were inconsistent, and when you use the hypothetical, and when you use hypotheticals, the whole list is yeah. So the entire list is kind of down to hypotheticals, like, oh, if this or if that, right? If Axel had a more positive sensei, or like if Wolf didn't have to fight in a 3-point match, which is still crazy to say because Wolf is literally a tournament fighter. He's a 3-time world champion. So to say that, like, he lost because of a tournament fight is kind of stupid, because it seems like a lot of people gloss over the fact that he was a 3-time world champion. I don't think it's close to accurate, but can be strong. Yeah. Consider Mr. Viagi's in the show. He should be on the list. I don't really care. You missed out on nearly every. I've never seen a list as bad as this. Never bro rank again. Don't agree with the list, but it's funny to nitpick it when it's also obvious that every virtual article from the site is not AI. Yeah, honestly, this sounds like it was generated straight out of like ChatGPT Premium, right? Johnny Lawrence and chose over Daniel LaRusso. Did you guys miss Karate Kid 1 and 2? Okay, so this is what we call using the past to scale the present syndrome. Like, yeah, he beat them in Karate Kid 1. So what? Nobody cares. That was literally over 3 decades ago. Jeez. Awful rankings. The only thing I keep thinking with all these senses is how now working together, the students make a really be good fighters. I'd love to see how the next generation stack up against each other. With the ending so perfect, I know it can't happen and would be a money grab. I'm ready for some fan fiction though. Okay, well that was kind of off topic. I don't agree with this list. You have to really, all the bad guys practically being the best. Yeah, honestly, I didn't even realize that. They put like all the villains really high up compared to their like protagonist counterparts. But yeah, overall, if I were to rank this list, I would give this list a solid 3 out of 10. It is not good because it's all hypotheticals, a bunch of headcanon, and they just don't chain scale at all, right? Like, I don't know how they came to the conclusion that Axel is so much stronger than Robby, even though Robby fights relative to him. And like, I don't know how Sean is not on this list, which is crazy, right? Kyler should be above Anthony, first of all. Like, there's so many things wrong. They just forgot a bunch of characters. But yeah, anyways, that's all I had to say for today. I just wanted to make a funny little video talking about ScreenRant's top 20 list. But yeah, anyways, that's all I have for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Eat your greens, stay healthy, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Peace.